This is an older episode of What We Remember. Robocop, released July 13th, 2017. We hope you enjoy it, and it's one of our favorites. Thanks.
Everything at my work is all automated, though. So it's like the light switch turns on when you open the door, the toilet flushes itself, the water comes on itself.
Oh, man.
The air dryers, you just put your hands inside it and it dries it.
Yeah, now
everything is automated.
At my work, we moved to like another floor of the office, and now we actually have individual bathrooms instead of like big group ones. And I'm like, okay, this works. But they have the automated lights.
I will say I don't like most of the automated stuff.
The lights, I'm always weird because if I go in the bathroom and the lights on, I'm like, someone was in here recently.
The problem that I have is that the sink, when it's automated, it's always cold right off the beginning. You can never turn on the hot or the cold or both at the same time. It's just one temperature. And you have to sit there and wash your hands with cold water.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
That's true.
And then the other problem is that the toilet is so sensitive that you'll be sitting on it and it will flush multiple times.
Oh, that's the worst.
And I'm like, this is so energy inefficient that it shouldn't be here. We're wasting so much water by doing this.
Yeah.
Do you stand up between like poops? Like you poop one and then stand up? And then
I usually do burpees as I'm taking a shit.
It's great for your thighs.
Yeah. Bad for the environment, but great for your thighs.
I not only do I engage my my glutes, I also engage my asshole,
your colon and lower intestine. All of it's engaged.
Get some kegels in, you know.
My name is Bradley Jones.
I'm Andrew Moldenhauer.
And I'm Andy Hubert.
And this is not a movie review podcast, but a podcast where we try to remember what happened in a movie we haven't seen in a very, very long time. This is what we remember about Robocop.
Were there 2 or 3 bad guys in Home Alone? And who was that forgetful fish in Finding Nemo? Join us as we're watching films, see what we remember and what memories we kill. Let's start the show, here we go. This is what we remember.
Happy 30th anniversary, Robocop.
Yeah.
This movie is 30
You
years
did it.
old.
And we're near Detroit, where the movie takes place.
Yeah, have they put in that statue they were
No,
gonna put in?
okay, so
I thought they did.
No, they didn't, because they made the statue. If people aren't from Detroit, back in 2010, there was a big campaign to build a RoboCop statue.
Peter Weller endorsed it.
And a crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
for it.
Crowdfunding. They made. I think they raised $10,000.
Oh, they
or
raised
$15,000.
like more than they needed for it, I think.
So I asked someone about this a while ago, and I haven't really verified it, so take this with a grain of salt. Apparently, someone ended up buying the statue once it was finished.
Oh, okay.
They bought it for the price that it was made for,
for?
or whatever, or the amount that was raised. So never actually. It was gonna go at Campus Martius, I believe, near where Joe Louis is.
See, I read that they were going to put it there, and then the city finally came in and was like, "We don't want a RoboCop statue."
Why would you not
Why
want
not?
that?
I know, right?
Take photos with it?
Look, there's only so much you can really celebrate in Detroit. That's one of them. That's one of the big ones.
You get Eminem and you get RoboCop. And those are the only we don't count Kid Rock, but he's out there.
Yeah.
Well, and the movie RoboCop doesn't really paint Detroit badly. I mean, there's crime. Well, hear me out. There's crime. There's crime in Detroit. Yes.
Do you remember RoboCop?
No, I don't. I mean, it doesn't. There's crime in all cities, but it's just set in Detroit. It doesn't I don't think it really. I'm hoping
in the movie it's like the number one crime city in
that's why they're.
Well, that's because it was a fact at the time.
Right.
Well,
Well, that's why they privatized the police, is because they're the regular police can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it and be like, I'm wrong.
That's gonna be it's just 100% ruined dystopia.
Exactly.
So I think this movie starts out with some fake out commercials, because that's just something that
Is this for the company that's building
Who was the director?
Paul Verhoeven, same dude who did Starship Troopers.
Same guy who did Starship Troopers.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
There's some sort of weird commercial where there's just a bald guy with glasses and he's surrounded by a bunch of ladies in bikinis, and he just says, "I'll buy that for $1." That's the big catch line.
Does he?
From this movie? Yeah.
That's gonna be really good. I hope you put
It
in
happens a few times.
I need
in the
you
film.
to put in a little clip of that commercial right now. I'll buy that. It's gonna sound exactly like "I'm gonna sit on my butt." It's gonna work out.
I'd buy that for $1.
Okay, so what is the commercial for? Is this
It's they're going through a bunch of news reports and they're talking about how crime-ridden
Oh, kind of
Detroit
setting the scene, yeah.
They're talking about the OCP, who is the group who, kind of owns the city.
Yeah.
They're sort of like this big organization that oversees basically everything, like food and electricity. And
they're this
the whole
massive
town.
conglomerate that just runs everything.
It's the Johnson & Johnson.
So it's like a company that runs the city?
Yes,
It's
basically.
a giant business company.
Okay.
And we got one of my favorite actors, Peter Weller, hanging out.
Yep.
He's Alex Murphy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he's just a beat cop trying to make it on
scratch
the
a
street.
living, yeah.
Yep, scratch it up.
But he has a partner.
Yep. Lewis, I believe, is her character name. Nancy Allen, but I don't know if she has a first name. She gets called Lewis a lot in the movie. Mm-hmm. And we got a main bad guy. I'm not sure when he gets introduced, but Kurtwood Smith, a.k.a. Red Foreman.
Yeah.
Red Foreman, yep.
Oh my God, he looks he looks the same, but he also looks totally different.
I think that's an accurate description. He looks
He
totally
has
the same, but
he has
totally
the same
different.
bald hair, but it's just weird looking at him with glasses on, and he's what, at that point he's 20 years younger or 10 years younger.
He's like 18 years old in the movie.
He looks like it, yeah.
That's one of those weird. It's like a Clark Kent moment where he puts on glasses and you're like, "Who's that?"
And he is working for a guy named Dick Jones, who I believe is like the president or some sort of very high uppity up guy in the OCP.
Yeah.
And he's basically controlling the crime in the city. It's sort of like a cyclical thing.
So he's creating the crime and they're also busting the crime at the same time?
Yeah, well, OCP in general, they own the police
super
force.
shady.
But at the same time, they also run a bunch of illegal activities.
Sure.
So there's this big...
It's all profit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all about making money.
So what are they running exactly? Are they running drugs? Yeah.
Yep. I forget what exactly. Maybe it has a fancy name in the movie. I know in the second movie it's called Nuke. Ooh. But I don't know the first movie what the drug's called. Because there's a part in this movie where RoboCop breaks up a drug plant that comes pretty later in the movie. So they're definitely drug running.
So we get that right in the beginning that he's doing a drug deal because
I believe so. Or just he's controlling crime.
Murphy comes into doesn't he run after him in the beginning?
Yeah, he's just a regular cop going out on a bust. I believe he's got a sweet little helmet on.
But he goes with his partner, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know when it happens, but they ultimately chase these bad guys down to a warehouse, and that's when the SHIT goes down.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Or up into the fan.
But I think before this we get some moments of his home life because that plays an important part of RoboCop.
Yes.
And remembering things.
Yep.
So I'm guessing you see him
you
be
see
a dad
pictures
and
of
stuff.
his family.
His wife and
that's
kids.
later. That is later.
You see his memories. They're infused inside of his RoboCop brain.
Yeah. So you think we get a shot with him and his family at the beginning?
Yeah.
Having breakfast before going.
Getting ready for his shift.
That's like a classic cop movie.
Stay safe at work, honey. Just out there getting the bad guys, dear.
So I don't know if they're going on a generic bust or if they know they're officially going after Kurtwood Smith, but they end up chasing him down.
I think that they're in over their heads. They think they're chasing one guy down, and I think that guy leads them into a trap.
That's my expectation. Yeah, they're chasing one guy, and he runs to the main.
Yeah, the trap is in the warehouse where the gunfight happens.
I'm guessing maybe even he breaks up some sort of crime that happens before that, and Kurtwood Smith has it out for him. He specifically wants to kill Alex Murphy because he did something before. Maybe he even gets arrested and then immediately let go, and it's the crime and this.
Maybe he busted him before, and the
Yeah.
powerful OCP guy has pulled some strings to get him off,
to get him out again.
Yeah, and he's mad about it. He's like, that bastard.
Something like that probably happens, and then and that's when they end up getting to that warehouse, and I don't know what happens to Lewis. Maybe she just gets knocked
split
out
up.
of
Yeah, they definitely get split up.
I think he's up on a balcony or stairway or something like that, and she's down below.
Right. He ends up getting shot
a million times.
Oh, yeah.
But first he just gets taken out just a little bit, and then they start to get very sadistic about killing him.
Yeah.
And probably the most graphic scene in any movie ever, to this date even. He gets shot about 1 billion times.
They just blow him away.
There are squibs everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much blood. There's so many body parts. I'm pretty sure his arm gets blown off. Like he's just totally. He definitely gets shot in the dick.
Having a bad day is
horrifying.
basically, yeah, he's just having a bad day.
Oh yeah, a couple shotgun blasts to the chest.
Oh jeez.
And he's
Don't worry,
he's RoboCop material.
Yeah, he's Swiss cheese. He's Swiss cheese at this point. Also have to make mention that Ray Weiss also plays another bad guy.
Oh, Ray Weiss. I love Ray Weiss.
All right. I'll take your word for it. I don't remember it.
All your Ray Weiss fans out there, he's young and looking hung.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, let's pass by that.
No, write that down. We got to verify that for the part 2.
What are your measurements?
So Alex Murphy dies, and I think he has a funeral even.
Yeah.
How do they get his body out of the warehouse? Or do these guys just like run off and just like the police come in and
I don't know.
Yeah,
break it up?
I think
and
Lewis
everything?
like finds him.
They probably just blow him away and then run off, and Lewis is like, no.
Yeah, she calls back up.
Cut to funeral. Him being buried. You see a photo of
Closed casket, of
Yeah.
course.
Everyone's sad.
That's because he's not in that casket.
Is it raining on the funeral?
I don't think it is.
It's like
I don't think it is.
90%.
does it
usually is,
rain?
though.
Look,
Well, I
90%
mean-
of movie funerals are being rained on.
But it's in Michigan, so the weather's inconsistent.
Yeah, the weather
who
is.
knows?
You don't know
whatever
if it's gonna
wants to
rain
be.
on your
Yeah.
funeral.
What about your parade, though?
Well, it's going to rain on that.
Macy's Day Parade is always raining. So it fades to black, and then we fade up, and then we're looking through RoboCop POV of they're doing tests on him. And can you remember there was a guy earlier in the film that was trying to get the RoboCop program to pass? He is a famous, what we remember, guy that we
Grodin?
love.
I hope it's Charles Grodin.
It's in episode 1.
Whoa! Oh my god!
Is it
Episode 1.
is it the villain in episode 1?
Oh man!
Miguel Ferrer.
Yeah, Miguel Ferrer.
I'm so
Rest
excited
in
now.
peace.
I'm really
Rest in
excited.
peace.
Now. Yeah.
He's gone?
Yeah, last year.
Oh no.
Yep.
We should have did a memorial for him.
Well, here it
Time's
is.
fast.
We'll do every Miguel Ferrer movie that we can think
Pour
of.
one out for Miguel Ferrer.
Now, can we hold up just 1 second?
Yep.
There's a sequence where is it OTC?
OCP.
OCP. You
They're-
down with OPP. Okay.
What about ICP, though?
CP. They create a robot that doesn't work, and it ends up killing a bunch of people in the office as they're testing it out. Is that in the beginning? Is that later on? Is that RoboCop 2?
That's a little bit later on.
That's this one, but
and
it
I
is
think
later on.
that's what gets people behind Miguel Ferrer's idea to
for
go
the-
with
for the
RoboCop instead of that other thing.
Yeah, because I think they're more on board with like a cyborg instead of like an actual
Right,
robot.
because you're right. There is like a big demonstration
Yeah.
where like the machine ends up going crazy and designating the
and
whole
that scene
audience
has
targets.
always stuck with me out of the entire movie.
Yeah, there's one guy in a board meeting who like just pick up the gun and point it at it. It's like, and then he like threatens them like put down the gun. Da-da-da-da-do.
And then he puts the
And
gun
he puts
down.
the gun down, but the thing doesn't stop. It like keeps it in its track. Like you have 5 seconds to comply.
And everybody in the boardroom is like
Staying away from this
staying
guy.
away from this guy,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
he gets blasted out of a window. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Like he
That
like gets
happens-
shot up and
I'm
blasted
pretty
out
sure
this
like
window.
at least 3 people get blasted out of windows in this movie. Like I feel like that's a reoccurring thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure. At least 2. I can guarantee 2 of them
Yeah.
happen.
Okay, so he's now becoming RoboCop.
Uh-huh.
Do they have like a
There's a
montage
lot
of
of,
putting
like-
them together? Or?
Yeah, well, he keeps coming in and out, and he keeps like you see
There's
things
a lot
on
of
the
testing,
screen.
yeah.
There's a lot of testing. There's text on the screen. We just think maybe it's his consciousness at some points. We don't know how much. We're gradually like it's like months are passing, and
Yeah.
RoboCop is getting put together and finalized.
Yeah.
So we see all that through his eyes, and we eventually get to like a big grand unveiling. Oh, there's even a part where one of the girls has sex with one of the guys while RoboCop is like watching them.
Oh, now I'm on board with this movie. I'm ready to watch it.
All right, let's get into that. What kind of position are they in? No, I'm just kidding.
Is it full nudity or is it
They're
like...
doing robot style.
Oh,
Oh, I mean that's a probe.
open robot style.
That's a probe. So it's
And then eventually there's a big grand unveiling. We open up and it's like people cheering, drinking champagne, like, we're at RoboCop's online, here we go. And they fire him up, and I believe he just like gets out there and starts fighting crime. And I don't think anyone knows it's Alex Murphy. Lewis has to like figure it out.
Does he get his
that he's that
motorcycle
thing.
right away? His like cool motorcycle that he drives, or is he?
He might, because I know that gun for sure.
Oh, the gun is
yeah.
really cool.
That's classic.
I'm almost okay. I'm worried
That gun is like a
throughout-
foot long.
I'm worried that through the course of this episode, I'm going to mix RoboCop 2 up with this movie because
Okay.
the two of them run together a lot in my head. But so
I think he gets a sweet motorcycle.
I know most of the police force drive around like really crappy old Ford Escorts, and like when he gets in it, it's like the whole car sinks way down or something. Like he's too heavy for this car.
It's like a Crown Vic or something like that.
No, it's a Ford Escort, Andy.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. It's an old Ford Escort.
Speaking of escorts, the first person I think RoboCop saves is some girl who's like a hooker getting like beat up by some dudes.
Oh,
rude.
And RoboCop ends up like saving her.
And do the guys laugh at RoboCop first? Like, what are you,
they shoot guns at him, and it's like ineffective. And
it's like pew pew,
ineffective citizen.
Right Okay, so he starts being RoboCop.
Yeah,
starts saving the day here and there.
Yeah, he just crimes up the city.
Is Murphy skeptical at first, or does she slowly think it's
Lewis?
Murphy? Yeah, Lewis.
Yeah,
sorry.
Eventually she's like Murphy. She catches on to what's going on.
What clues him in first, though? Because I feel like Murphy still has a level of his own consciousness.
It comes
away
up
from RoboCop.
It starts to bleed into it
because he starts to
remember his family.
Yeah, and not only like remembering his family, he starts looking up like photo pictures through their like crime database.
Yeah, and that's
people.
Part of the problem because that's when he comes up some of his old case files, and that's when he really starts to remember like the Red Foreman bad guy. And that's when he starts being like, "Holy crap, I'm Murphy! I get that guy."
Foreman.
He even has traumatic like stress syndrome.
Yeah,
like he's reliving some of the him being in that warehouse again. And I think we do flash back to it, so we see it again. Him getting like totally destroyed.
Wiped out.
Yeah. I hope it's the whole scene again.
And he even goes back to his house, I think.
Yeah.
He like
starts looking at photos and just trying to remember.
Where's his family?
I was gonna say, does his wife come in and go like, "Oh,
I don't know.
My home?"
It's been like months since he's been dead, so
I mean,
they just
he's
moved
not home
along.
at the time. Maybe he sees his kid and like she doesn't recognize him and he doesn't let on to what's going on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like one of those like he sees them, like he starts kind of watching them from across the street and remembering.
Here's a serious question. Okay. What are the ethical standards of turning someone into a robot without their consent?
This is part 2 questions, Andy.
Without their consent and without informing their family that you're about to take your husband and father's body and put it into a robot.
I almost feel like they addressed it at some point where they're like,
there's some throwaway lines where they talk about he's like property of them.
Yeah, when he was a cop, like his contract that he signed when he became a cop allows them to do whatever they want basically after he's dead, or because he's OCP property basically at that point.
Oh my god, this place is messed up.
And that even once he realizes he is Murphy, at the same time he is still company property. Like he's not a person. I think that comes up too. That might also be RoboCop too. Yeah, because RoboCop 2 addresses a lot.
He's got a bunch of
stuff.
like directives in his head.
They have to address it in this
controlled
one
by OCP.
Yeah. I'm sure there's got to be some line in this movie. There's no way they can't brush right over that fact.
Right.
Especially if his family
doesn't
know
I think that's what Lewis is grappling with a lot of that.
Yeah.
Where she's like, how could you do this to Murph? Like, I assume she calls him Murph.
Yep. My boy Murph.
I think Lewis only finds out just by looking at like the bottom half of his face or something like that. I swear to no, I think there's a scene where she's like, she looks at him and she's like can start to say like, wait a second, that looks like Murphy.
Well, RoboCop, when he has his helmet off, he does have Peter Weller's face.
I was to say he has like I know like the little visor bit can go up too, and you can see his eyes. Like they actually still exist.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know if she saw his face or not.
Yeah, I don't know if she does. I know you can because he has the mask off quite a few times, and it's basically just because the costume was so just cumbersome.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, Peter Weller says it was like the worst thing ever. That's why he didn't want to do the third one. But
I mean,
he didn't do the third one?
No, they recasted him.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that. Man. I probably haven't even seen the third one.
Yeah.
I mean, that costume is pretty bonkers. He's pretty huge. Like, the gun they used to make his gun is a Beretta 93R. I know this is my realm, not yours, but that's our, like, I mean, they make that into a huge gun, and it still looks pretty regular in his hand, but...
I think I said it earlier. It looks like it's like a foot long.
Yeah,
it does. Away from his fist.
But it's sweet. It pops out of his leg, and it fires like...
It's totally cool. I think there is the one scene I'm really remembering. I'm like positive is RoboCop 2, but it's like when after they like reprogram him to be like super strict cop.
That's RoboCop 2.
And there's a guy like smoking, and he shoots like a silhouette around, or an outline around the guy's head, and the cigarette falls on. He's like, "Thank you for not smoking," and just puts the gun away.
Oh my God.
I love that scene.
In this movie, I think he does break up some sort of crime that involves a liquor store robbery. or like a gas station kind of
Yes,
deal.
I think it's a gas station.
Okay.
He rolls up to something happening. Probably someone's robbing the gas station, and I think he's like going to stop them, or
just like a liquor store. It may not be an actual gas station.
Sure,
yeah, something like that.
So he goes to stop them, and it turns out to be a big battle. And I think like at first they don't take RoboCop seriously.
Yeah.
But then he's like pulls out his gun and starts
blasting them away,
blasting at them.
And they can't shoot him.
Well, they could, but probably won't do anything to him.
It just bounces off everywhere.
So when does he become a problem for the guy at OCP? Because that guy eventually like calls, or does he call like the Red Foreman character and say like, I need you to take care of RoboCop, or does it the kind of the other way around where the Red Foreman guy's like, he's disrupting our crime activity?
That could, I think that's it.
Okay,
but Miguel Ferrer ends up getting killed. Like,
I know that.
No.
In the bitches leave scene.
So sad.
Well, I think it's a little bit later in the film. It's like almost right near the end, but there's a point where Miguel Ferrer is on the top of the world and he's doing cocaine off ladies' boobs and butts and stuff. And then Red Foreman comes in and says, "Bitches leave," and then kills him.
How you doing? Bitches leave.
Gee, Bobby. Bye. You gonna call me? Oh my God.
It's terrible.
Why does he kill him?
Because I think he ended up getting a hit put on him from Dick Jones, the OCP guy.
Okay.
I think that's the reason. Because Kurtwood Smith, a.k.a. Red Foreman, a.k.a. the guy I don't know his name in the movie.
Smith. I need to... Okay, Kurt. I'm committing it, so I stopped calling him Red.
Kurt Smith.
Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood Smith. Just like Dabney Coleman. You got to remember these names are important.
Wow. Can't.
These, classic names of these actors. Because he plays a video, and the guy talks about how he's doing a bad job or whatever. The Dick Jones character to Miguel Ferrer, and then he ends up getting just shot. He did something. He just, I'm not sure what. I don't remember what.
Is this when they try to set up a trap for RoboCop?
Yeah, that happens near the end of the film.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how far through it we are at this point.
I think there's a part where he gets beaten up pretty good because he's like falling down like a parking structure. He's like falling through the slats between levels, like rolling down.
He's rolling down
it.
Yeah. And then Lewis is at the bottom of it, and Lewis like pulls him into the car, and that's when I think
how
when
does
they
she
have
pull
their
it?
connection.
He weighs like a ton, like literally a ton.
She can lift a ton.
I'm not sure. Yeah, he probably helps a little bit.
Probably.
Yeah, it's an assisted lift.
He's like rocket shoes,
but I think that's when they have their moment of just like talking and like being buddies again and figure everything out.
Kind of, like it's like back in the old days.
I think she like lets him know that he's Murphy too.
Yeah.
Like, she like
She's
makes
trying
it
to
clear.
make it happen.
She's trying to get him to remember.
She's like, you are like we work together. You got shot.
And I think she encourages him to look at the old files too of like his old cases.
Do you think there was like a love connection there?
I don't think there was. I think they were just.
I like to think
bros.
that it was just it's just two partners doing a tough job.
Sure, and I can respect that.
Yeah, you're with your partner more than your wife, but you just gotta be buds.
Right. Sometimes that love story could probably confuse
like
the plot that they already have.
Yeah, like Lethal Weapon. I mean, those two love each other deeply.
Absolutely.
But it's just
Mel Gibson and his dog.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about Donald Glover and Mel Gibson.
Well, they do too. But
wow.
That's not the main part, though.
Does Lethal Weapon, is that their penises? Are those the lethal weapons?
Brad, we need to cover this movie.
Did you
not
call
get
him Donald Glover?
Danny Glover?
You call him Donald Glover. It took me a second. I was like, is that his name?
Don Glover from
I think all
Community.
Glovers look the same.
Mm-hmm. He's an undercover Glover. I already made that joke in an earlier podcast.
Well, make it again.
Yes, you did. You got to make it every time. That's required.
People want it. They want to hear it.
They've been asking for it. I mean, I think. It's just a guess.
Look, no one talks to us.
No one
tweets at us.
Nobody Facebooks us. We are in a vacuum when we're doing this podcast.
Sometimes, and it feels great.
I mean, I like listening to it.
Feels great.
Anyway. So I don't know much about the ending.
I don't know much.
I remember some. There's like
there's a big drug bust scene first.
Yes.
There's got to be.
Yeah, and he like tears up this.
He busts into where they're like making the drug.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Stop making this drug right this second."
But I know, like previously, the main
previously on
the
Robocop.
main OCP guy. the main OCP guy had like given like special guns and equipment to Kurt.
He has like a rocket launcher.
He gets and he has like this armor-piercing sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Like he is like
take Robocop out.
Yes, they specifically like here's the weapons to kill Robocop.
A rocket launcher is the way to go.
I don't think he uses because Kurt I think specifically has the giant sniper rifle with the. Like,
there's another guy that
tank.
has the rocket.
It's like
launcher.
an anti-tank rifle.
Got a RoboCop 2 question, or maybe one. Is there a little boy in this movie?
That's the second one.
Oh crap! Okay.
I see. No, you're doing the same thing. Like the
I'm trying to weed out.
The two of them blend together pretty well. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Hey, those are alternative facts. We don't want those in here.
Yeah. We need some real news. We need the truth. Stop
That's OCP talk is what that is.
Topical.
Stop listening to CNN about what they think of OCP.
So they have so he busts up the drug lab and there's that's like the last 20 minutes of like this entire fight, which include some guy gets like burned in acid.
So there's a truck that's just full of toxic waste, as they all are. When you're in Detroit. Yeah, when you're in Detroit and you see any sort of truck, you can guarantee it's full of toxic waste. And that gets shot with a bullet, and then that opens up a little spray valve. And one of Kurtwood Smith's goons gets
one of his
hosed
henchmen
with the toxic waste.
And gets like mutated and melted.
Yeah, he turns into just some sort of creature whose
its
entire body is melting. He's looking for help. He like grabs Kurtwood Smith, like, help me.
And he's like, Jesus, it's a mutant. Just blasts him.
No, he gets hit by a car. Robocop like splats him all over the front of the car.
Oh, I'm so excited to see this movie.
All over the windshield. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Splat.
Yep.
Is there a car chase?
I mean, it's all part of one of the final fight. Like,
okay. I think there's a car chase.
Probably
in the final fight.
I assume there is.
Probably some car chases.
Because you're right. He does definitely get run over by the police car.
Well, I think they're like chasing. They're like doing a car chase like in and out of warehouse buildings.
Yeah, it's
like almost at like an airport or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Kurtwood Smith has his like back against the wall. Okay, now I'm gonna do RoboCop 2.
Okay.
Does this part where he gets caught with a magnetic lift? Does Kurtwood Smith have like a magnetic,
that sounds
that seems
right,
more of like a 2,
like on a wrecking ball kind of, on the front of like a crane magnetic lift.
That sounds right, but I don't know if it's 2 or 1.
I think that's more of a 2.
Maybe it's both of them.
I would, yeah, why not?
Maybe it's both films.
But at one point he blows up Kurtwood Smith.
Well, he chases him down, and that's when Kurtwood Smith spills the beans. Because later Robocop plays it for the board meeting, like,
yes,
I work for Dick Jones. Dick Jones! Dick Jones! Like, we get it. You work for Dick Jones.
Okay, look, name drop all over this place.
You cocksucker! I work for Dick Jones! Dick Jones! He's the number 2 guy at OCP! OCP runs the cops!
Because then he goes back to the OCP tower.
Well, he kills Kurtwood Smith with his little information blade in his hand that he has.
I didn't remember that, but that's gonna be cool.
Oh, yeah, because he has like a USB thing. That's how he like accesses like files and stuff.
He has a USB razor blade. Or claw, like Wolverine claw.
Man. Yeah.
And that's what he uses I'm pretty sure, to kill Kurtwood Smith. Like,
brutal.
He was going to let him live, but then Kurtwood Smith was going to do something that was going to kill him. So he instinctively just
going to light him on fire with like gasoline and stuff.
Could be. He's going to be like, I'll kill your family if you let me live. And I was like, why did you tell him that? Don't tell him that and then kill his family. Idiot. That's crime 101.
That's like in Home Alone 2 when Marv gives all the ideas away and Harry's like, shut up!
That was really funny.
So Robocop wants to go show them the evidence that Dick Jones is behind this, but he first has to fight Ned 209.
Yes, which is is that the big creature?
Yeah.
The big robot?
The big robot, yeah.
The big robot.
The failed robot.
That thing is so clunky. Doesn't it just fall down some stairs?
It does.
Yes. It's really good stop motion. Like, it looks pretty good.
Yep. It just falls down some stairs.
Look, they haven't worked all the kinks out.
It talks like a lion. It growls and yells.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it and RoboCop have like a pretty decent fight. I forget how RoboCop wins, maybe with a grenade launcher or something.
It looks like a Gundam.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what it looks like.
Or like Mech Warrior is one of them.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Or BattleTech, if you guys ever saw that.
That's what I was actually trying to think of, is BattleTech, because it looks like the halfway form where it's like half Jet Fighter.
Or Exo Squad.
Whoa.
You guys like classic 90s cartoons. We're dishing them out.
He gets up to the OCP boardroom and the board is having like a whole meeting for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they want to institute the Ed 209s. Like they figured them out, and they want to replace RoboCop and the police with these things.
And I'm wondering, like, if like RoboCop was causing controversies, so they were also talking about shutting down the RoboCop. Maybe that's number 2. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I feel like it's incidental at this point.
I think the people are behind RoboCop. He's helping a lot of people.
Yeah, he busts in on the board meeting. I know at one point he's like, the bad guy is basically just like, oh, well, then arrest me or shoot me or something, but he can't because he's programmed not to.
Yep.
Because he's not allowed to do anything to the board members.
He might not even be able to kill Kurtwood Smith. They might even like program that, and maybe Lewis ends up killing him.
Oh, maybe
something like that. Maybe happens.
I don't know.
I forget.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think that part.
But I think there's a setup to he can't. I don't think this is the first time he couldn't kill somebody.
Okay.
I think this was set up before. But I can't remember when.
But yeah, he can't kill the bad guy because he's a board member.
Yeah, that for sure happens.
And at some point, they're just like, "You're fired."
The president fires him.
And then he's like, "Oh, now I can kill him."
Yeah,
and blows him away.
Wait, that was it?
And that's the end of the movie.
Wait a second. And
that's all there is. Welcome. That's all there. That's all they have.
Let's unpack that. All he had to do was get fired and then kill someone? Like he couldn't kill someone when he's on company time?
Well, he couldn't kill the guy because he's the president of the company.
He has prime directives.
Oh! I thought they fired RoboCop. I was like, how did that
No, they fired Dick Jones.
I love the idea of firing RoboCop.
That'd be good too.
In my head, I was like, how does
it would
that
work either way.
Oh yeah, they fire Ed Jones, and that's when he's like, "Oh, now you're not an employee anymore."
So the board fires him.
Yes, okay. The board just sitting there terrified because RoboCop's there going to kill them all, even though he can't.
He sticks that bloody USB into a slot and plays Kurtwood Smith.
He does, yes.
Spilling the beans.
And so that's when the board, who I had to believe the rest of that board is in on their own illegal stuff, but they're like, "Oh, well, that guy's clearly a bad board member. We're the good board members.
Yeah, we didn't do any of this.
We didn't do it." And they give him a RoboCop, and he gets blasted out a window, I'm assuming.
Yep. And then we get bum 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 bum.
I was gonna sing with you, but I didn't know it.
Is it immediately credits, or is there like a post?
I bet there's a freeze frame,
board
and it's
like
the end.
I think it's just the end
with him and what's her face?
Yeah, maybe he gets like a one-liner in there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like immediate credits after he kills the bad guy, or if it was going to be like and now we're the king of police.
And he gets a crown. He gets painted gold, like Johnny Five in Short Circuit 2.
The racist.
I hope Short Circuit's on our list because we need to watch that.
So join us in part 2. We'll figure out what we got right, what we got wrong, and I'm sure a lot of things we missed.
Oh my God! There's going to be so much we missed.
Yeah,
we missed the whole middle of the movie. He's
just being RoboCop,
just hanging out. He's busting crimes
and sweet moves,
but not nuts.
He's busting some nuts.
Oh, is he?
Oh yeah.
Don't bust my balls, RoboCop.
Oh, in that way. Oh, okay.
Bet you think you're pretty smart, huh? Think you could outsmart a bullet? What do you say we find out, huh? I'm talking to you! What do you say? Huh? Huh? I'm talking to you!
Drop it! Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
I know you. You're dead. We killed you!
Welcome back to the Dead or Alive, You're Coming With Me podcast. We watched RoboCop.
This movie was great. This movie was the best movie we've watched.
It's really good. I have to apologize straight out the gate though, guys. I'm really sorry. I misled you. It was not a Ford Escort that they drove around.
Oh, wow.
It was like a Ford Taurus.
It's a Ford Taurus.
It was a Ford Taurus.
It's a Ford Taurus. Oh, I'm so sorry.
What about that 6000 SUX?
Yeah, they make fun of the Pontiac car.
The 6000 sucks.
They really talked about it, too, because that one villain had that car, and then they blew it up with a rocket launcher, or like a... I don't know, like a bomb gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some sort of,
whatever that thing was.
it's just some sort of super gun.
Super gun.
Super space gun.
Oh boy.
This movie was incredible.
This movie's great.
Yeah.
I forgot about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, Die Hard is on like the same level of what we've seen.
Oh yeah, well sure.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And that's fair. But yeah, I mean, it's a timeless movie already. But yeah, this rewatching it, I had not watched this in a long time.
Movie's the bomb.
I'm just like, everything about this movie, like especially the fake TV, which is what we expected, especially after we were talking about it on Starship Troopers. Like the show's like, I'd do that for $1.
Yeah,
like all the
time.
Oh my
that, like, satire.
gosh, it's so good.
Yeah, there's like a commercial for the Family Heart Association where you get a whole heart replacement.
Yep.
It's just like a piece of technology.
It's the running model, financing available.
I just liked right from the get-go. I saw that MGM logo and I saw that Orion logo, and that Orion logo always excites me. I don't know. There's movies that have that logo. I'm like, ooh, it's gonna be a good movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh hell yeah!
It's like the Geffen, like the old school Geffen logo.
Right.
Movie. It's like, oh, this is gonna be good. It used to be New Line Cinema movies, and it's like, oh no, a New Line Cinema.
Yeah,
movie.
they tank.
Oh boy.
I used to feel like that for Lionsgate, and now I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I still get a little bit like that for legendary movies, but like,
yep.
Still like that.
Those like artsy production studios, they'll make some good ones, but then eventually they just seem to run out of steam or run out of money. Things change, and it's just not as. The films they make are just not as good. But this is like Orion in the 80s making great movies and actually like putting up money for movies that
so much money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like $100 million movie.
This movie only got made because Terminator was so successful.
Yeah. Yep.
It was really funny. I like reading about apparently they sort of marketed off of Terminator, and so a lot of people kind of went to see it expecting Terminator and were confused.
They got it in a way.
Yeah,
in
I
a
mean,
different way.
Funnier.
Yeah, it's a different. It's not
a horror
similar
film.
but different. It's kind of a weird way to describe it, but
I don't know. I thought there were elements of this movie that were horrifying.
They're over the top though.
The scene where Murphy dies,
where he gets shot for like an
had
hour.
So much anxiety.
Oh man,
like that scene like really kind of hit me in a weird way.
Yeah, the whole them in the warehouse on it. Like even when as soon as they went in the warehouse. I was like, you're on the edge of your seat.
Don't
like,
go
oh
in here.
man, please don't go in that warehouse.
Yeah. When Clarence has the gun, he's just like,
he blew off his hand with a shotgun, and you see Peter Weller like literally in shock, like not knowing what just happened.
Yep.
Then they blow off his entire arm. I think like
it just falls off.
It looked
like an
so
action figure.
real. Like everything about that scene looks so real, and it was kind of scary.
So there's a behind the scenes called Flesh and Steel, which I recommend everybody watching about RoboCop. And Paul Verhoeven talks about he wanted to do this movie because of that exact scene of seeing a hero like get killed in the first 25 minutes in such an excruciating way. It's like, well, I've never seen a hero get his hand blown off before by a gun. I'm going to do this movie.
Yeah.
And that's what sold him
that's
on
the
it.
thing.
And it
like
works.
that doesn't happen in a movie where your main character dies 20 minutes in.
I also think they did
just to become a different character.
They did a really good job of connecting the audience to Peter Weller. Before he dies, like they did not have a lot of movie to do that, but I like as soon as he was like, oh, I just transferred in, I was like, I'm on board with this guy, and I'm ready to see his crazy adventures, and then he gets shot into tiny pieces, and you're like, what?
And there was already one of the cops on the force that had gotten murdered, and it's like this, cop killers are out there, and he's how dispensable these guys are.
Yeah.
And who's the villain? What's his name again?
Which one? There's a couple. Clarence and Dick Jones are the characters.
Not Dick
names.
Jones, but Clarence.
Oh, right,
Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood Smith.
His character killed 33 police officers in this movie.
Is that what he said on his rap sheet, or is it just on screen?
On screen.
Oh,
that was a
wow.
part of the dialogue. He has killed 33 police officers.
Wow. That's
so when RoboCop does catch him and bring him in, he says that he's a cop killer. Like he's like, what's the charge? He's a cop killer. He killed 33 police officers, including RoboCop, or maybe not including RoboCop.
Well, I mean, is he dead or alive? That's a story. I mean, his body's gone.
It's an ethics question.
What's going on with his conscience?
Yeah. I jumping back to the scene where Murphy dies, it was too long. I felt like it was so horrifyingly long.
It was perfect.
I thought it was.
It was a good scene
within the context of this film. It was perfect. But I think if that scene was in any other movie, I would laugh it off because he's just standing there going while they're just blasting his limbs away.
Yeah, it did get
for like 2 minutes. Yeah, they're like really shooting him. He should have died.
And it was even more ridiculous that they wheeled him. They wheeled him into a hospital and tried to revive him.
That was funny.
After he gets execution shot to the head,
and that's the moment you're in Peter Weller's head. Like you feel his pain. You know what he's going through. They're putting all those, and from the dialogue standpoint, it sounds like they're just say whatever you would say if this was happening in real life, doctors. And then
there was a real team of doctors.
It felt like it.
It felt very, and I read that.
It was all
it's a real trauma team doing what they would do, and I could tell, like when I'm watching that scene, it feels like exactly what you would hear, like doctors who do this every day to be doing.
It was a funny scene because as they were trying to revive him, I was just like, why? This guy is going to have a horrible quality of life as soon as he wakes up, and you're trying to revive him? Like, he got murdered. He is dead.
We saved you, Murphy. You have, one
arm.
You have, half a limb. That's it.
20 bullets inside you.
Yeah.
They were able to save his arm, but then
they removed it.
Then Bob wanted it cut off.
I appreciated in this film, but I had totally forgotten about this sort of competition between the two executives at OCP. And the idea that they made, I don't remember, who's the actor that does, who's in charge of Robocop?
Miguel Ferreira?
Yes. Like, they make him almost like a sympathetic version of, greedy corporate executive.
You still hate him a little bit.
He's still like a total D-bag, but he's like the more sympathetic one. Like, he's like, oh, I have a better program. Like, I think Robocop could be really good. At the same time, he's like snorting coke off of hookers' boobs and... just being a D-bag, but at the same time, he's like the one you're like, oh.
There was no funeral scene, which we got wrong. Maybe that happens in the remake. No, just got confused.
I haven't seen the remake.
Yeah, nobody did.
I don't need to see the remake.
I was the only one who did.
I did, but I don't remember that much from it. I enjoyed it. I remember I enjoyed it, which no one else did.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
I also don't know if we got this, but Murphy actually transferred from another precinct.
Yeah,
we did.
Andy just said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was blanking out.
I don't know if we said
notes.
it in part one, but
no, right.
Yeah,
we didn't say it in part one.
Yeah, the fact that he was new.
The new boy in school. Hey, I'm just transferred in here. I'm gonna have a fun time, right?
Yeah.
And the grizzled sergeant like, we work here for a living, Murphy. Get suited up.
And there's a lot of character building. Every line is meant to build a character. When Murphy doesn't let Lewis drive the car, that's a character building.
Yeah. Like I said, they create a full-fledged Murphy character within the first 10 minutes.
When Lewis beats the shit out of that punk that's in the precinct, like no one else can handle him.
Oh,
and she just whips his ass,
takes him out.
I did also write down though, based on that scene, I was like, that scene kind of feels awfully different in 2017.
In what way?
In the way of police brutality towards people. And...
Well, I mean, it's New Detroit.
Although he was fighting back and he was fighting off 6 officers, which
he did punch 2 of them down, and it was a big deal. I also like I said, there's just a lot of subtle character building. I really enjoy watching kind of the background transformation of all the cops that work in the department towards RoboCop. Like, when he first comes in, they're all like, what the heck is with this guy?
Yeah, there are some great ADR lines where, he came into the precinct, and the first line that an extra said is, are we going to lose our jobs? I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
You wanted to go on strike anyway, sir.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Did we even get the fact that they went on strike?
No, they weren't. Yeah, they were protesting.
That was like a plot line that just fizzled out.
Yeah, it just happened.
It was sort of in the background. I guess it was sort of just supposed to imply how rough the job is. And
in the second movie, they are on strike. It starts with them being on strike. So, I don't know if that's like a carryover.
Yes.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to just be reflecting the condition of Detroit or it was supposed to be reflecting the idea of a corporation running a police department was miserable. It may have been, maybe it was both, but
it was all about just privatizing the police force and
because
how they're not going to serve the public interest.
They're all miserable.
So the main bad guy wants to turn Detroit into something called the Delta Skyline. Is that what it was called?
I don't remember exactly, but it sounds vaguely familiar.
Apparently, that's something that he was going to do by instituting Ed 209. How is the bad guy? What's going on?
I don't know. It was originally just the idea that the only reason they were doing the Ed 209 project for the police was to eventually sell it to the military,
right?
Which maybe then would make them the money to be able to do the Delta project. I don't know.
Dick Jones' plan was just not there. He just I don't know what he wanted to do. He wanted to make the Ed 209s. They were big and bulky.
Yeah, and the guy does end a lot earlier in the movie than I remembered.
Yeah,
I missed that a bit, but it got He doesn't get shot out the window, too. He falls through the plans.
Yeah, he falls through like the little
skyline plan.
The thing about this movie is everything just looks so real. All of those squibs that were exploding,
are incredible.
They explode like these massive like blowouts of this guy's chest. It looks so effective.
Well, and like,
not to sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
but
good.
not only that, like the whole movie seems to be shot like it's almost like a documentary in a way. It looks so like real and gritty and like fast-paced camera movements.
You feel like you're there, and even like I said, the scene where Murphy gets killed, like when you see his hand get blown off.
My god,
it feels
horrifying.
real. Like this is an '80s film, and I wouldn't expect the effects of all these gunshots. I expect Rambo or something like that. It felt real. It felt really good.
There's a subtle amount of grain on at least in the movie that I saw.
Yes.
And it's like, whoa, this really like adds the realism to it too. It feels
exactly.
gritty.
Yep.
And I think that made me a little bit more horrified when we were seeing like certain people die.
Right.
Certain like lighting choices too, and the movie is awesome.
Yeah.
They had to light
Very crazy
RoboCop
production.
differently because of him being metal and reflecting light, so they had to light him like a car.
In the documentary, they said no matter how they put the lights on him, like he'd always shine and look really cool though. Either like silhouette on the side. Like,
yeah, I bet.
They'd always find a sweet spot to shoot a RoboCop, because the costume is just so BA.
The theme song is fantastic.
I was trying to sing it on the end of part one.
You were
no one
singing
recognized it.
I didn't recognize it until I heard it in the movie.
No, rewatching it, I was
He's
like,
riding around in the cop car. That song's playing. Just working the beat, costume, and jab.
Oh my god, it was so good. The one scene where that really got me into RoboCop is when he stops the lady from getting raped by the two guys.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes up and he fucking like shoots that guy right in the gonads.
right in the dick.
And RoboCop turns to the lady as she says thank you, and he's like, you
have suffered a trauma.
You have suffered a trauma. I will contact the local
rape crisis unit. Yeah.
I was like, damn, RoboCop, that was the right thing to say.
You're the man, RoboCop.
It was. I was like, oh man, RoboCop, you're a good guy.
I actually didn't know. Like that specifically jumped out. Like I was like, that's just the appropriate response. Like
it was definitely like a pet the cat type moment where it's
really
like the main character doing a good thing, and you're like, I'm on his side.
Yeah,
because they kind of have to now that it's like. He's a robot.
Yeah.
He's no longer a human being.
And you're worried that he might be just a tool of the corporation, but he really is doing a good job. Like, that's why I like seeing how the cops are all skeptical at him first, but like then at the end, like when they're in the parking garage and the SWAT guys who are totally separate are just like, we have orders to destroy him. And all the other cops are like, hey, he's a cop too. Don't kill him. And I was like, oh, they're on his side now too. They all like him.
Oh my god, they all blasted him to pieces.
They did though.
RoboCop needs like a paddy wagon to be following him though, because he's like arresting criminals like nonstop.
So many.
There's no way he has room in his car,
right,
for all these people that he's arresting. Where are they going?
He kills most of them. Problem solved. I thought the one scene that felt kind of funny to me was the drug lab scene, where the bad guy's meeting with this other bad guy who like actually runs the manufacturing, and they're trying to cut a deal. And
they need some bodies for RoboCop to shoot through.
It just felt like an establishing scene, and all of a sudden they're like, nope, this is a major, like, we're progressing through this. Now RoboCop's at the drug lab. I thought it was going to be like a setting up the operation, and then a few scenes later, RoboCop was going to disturb the operation. But no, it was like, we're about to set it up, and it's already broken because RoboCop found it.
Yeah, RoboCop.
Which was good. I liked it.
He has no fear. He just jumps
really
right
good.
into a situation.
Right?
Yeah. It just happened really fast, and I appreciated it. It was the movie. It never leaves you wandering. Like it's always moving.
This
and
movie
always
is always quicking. Sorry, it's always moving forward, and it's quick, and it's like always getting your attention in every scene.
There's so many scenes. There's so many shots. There's so many cuts. There's so many.
And every transition
happening.
where you get to the transition to like the news show and the commercials in between the news show.
Some of that felt a little clunky at the beginning, I'd say.
I think it's funny because the movie starts with that stuff, so it jumps you into that, and then they kind of have to explain later why it is the way it is.
Well,
so I think
everything in the news reports like shows you how terrible the world is,
and they're always
but they're always nonchalant about what's going on.
Nonchalant and smiling.
2 U.S. presidents passed away.
Got shot by a satellite. 2 U.S. presidents got murdered by a satellite.
When they're
San Diego.
Right after RoboCop starts, like, it was great, and like RoboCop solved the crime. Oh, isn't that funny? 13 people died today. Like they're just like still smiling.
Moving on.
My favorite newsreel part was when they were talking about the cop killer right in the very beginning. They were setting up the villain.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a cop killer out there. He shot a cop named Frank. And the newscaster goes, what does he say? He says, he's like, good luck, Frank. It's like Frank is like dying.
Yeah. He's in the hospital. He's recovering in the hospital.
The way he delivered that line, I was like, I have to write that down. It was too good. Good luck, Frank.
And Frank doesn't make it. They pull his name off of the locker.
It's true.
Damn.
It's got real.
Frank.
It was sad.
I guess I didn't make that connection.
Yeah, there's stakes now. Anybody can die, including Murphy.
And Frank.
I thought one of the scenes that was kind of funny to me is
the hostage scene.
Yes,
we
forgot about that part.
He was negotiating for some really bad
That
things.
was so funny.
It was great. It was so good.
We'll get you anything you want.
I love when he's like, and I want a really fancy car that goes fast and gets terrible gas mileage.
It was so good.
It was really funny.
And the ad for that car shows it as 8.2 miles per gallon. If you notice it later in the movie.
That's real bad. That's like the worst.
No, but I do like the scene where Robocop has this dream, with his first dream where he starts going nuts while he's in his little charging station.
That's like the moment that he becomes aware that he was a human.
But he busts up and busts out of the cage and starts walking down the hall. Everyone's freaking out, and then Lewis stops him in the hall and is just sort of like, do you remember me? What's your name?
Yeah.
And they immediately place all the blame on her because she happened to stop him in the hall.
You gotta
they're like, what did you say to him? And I'm like, he was going nuts before she talked to him. You got to be asking what happened.
That's a bunch
first.
of corporate BS though.
Yeah,
they're trying to cover themselves.
They pinned it all on her, and I was like, big corporations, am I right?
But the mean police officer, chief guy, has her back.
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry about it. That guy's an asshole.
Oh, man.
Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, so I think the movie's more just about RoboCop becoming aware of the fact that he used to be Murphy and kind of resolving that crime. As soon as he
for sure.
becomes in existence as a thing, it's kind of cool that the first crime that he wants to solve is his own murder.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That just makes sense. You would just do that.
Right? You'd be like, look, step one. Let's finish the whole I got killed thing.
And he doesn't give up.
No.
And it doesn't even explore his family really.
Yeah,
in
he
this movie.
just goes through the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do a lot more. They do a lot more with the family in the remake from 2014.
Yeah, which is a mistake.
Because it kind of worked.
Because he doesn't need that. That's not the main.
But I think you're right. It does. It does take
on.
away from what the main part of the movie. I think it adds a whole nother line to the movie that didn't need to be there.
Although I was kind of confused why they kept showing the scene. Well, they only showed it twice, but the scene where his wife in a dream comes up to him and says, "I have something to tell you."
Those aren't dreams. Those are memories.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I didn't. I
guess
it was just a reminder that he has a family and that he is a human.
Well, he sees that right before he dies the first time. It's his life flashes before his eyes, and he starts to remember all that stuff. And then later, I
did want to criticize the realtor trying to sell his old house because there was a bunch of burned up and dead flowers in there.
There's a broken coffee cup.
Look, if you're trying to sell this house, you need to clean it up, make it look nice. What are you doing?
I think it's kind of neat to be in the future. You just walk into a house that's for sale. You don't have to deal with anybody. Just talk to that thing.
The robot. They're like, hey, you like this house?
Could I sign you up for it at the end? And just punches right through that.
No thanks.
I don't know if I'm pulling this from a different episode or something like that, but I thought you had said that the villain in Basketball was in this movie.
No, the villain from Blank Check.
Right, you did say that.
Yes.
Cut this out.
Leaving it in!
No!
I do the editing.
I thought it was Robert Vaughn that you were talking about, but then I saw Ray Weiss and I was like, Ray Weiss looks like Robert Vaughn. Maybe that's what Brad was talking about.
Yeah.
But you did talk about Miguel Ferreira.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is kind of funny, the conflict between the two executives as being its own thing. And you do find yourself
There's that really weird scene where he's pissing in the bathroom and then the other guy's taking a shit and he's bad talking him.
Everyone's running out of there oh shit.
Dick Jones is a pussy, and then Dick Jones comes out of there and it's a real awkward scene.
Mm-hmm.
The guy pissed on himself too.
He's I'll finish this later.
I'll finish my pee another time.
And then, like, they go straight to, like, he's like, I'm going to hire a guy to go kill him in his house.
Yeah, that happened. Like, I forgot about the grenade. Like, him, like, reaching towards it and just being at a fingertips reach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like falling over.
I wasn't sure if that was a grenade or a bomb, because, like, that's such a big explosion for a grenade.
It's a future grenade.
Future tech, yeah. OCP makes good grenades, you know?
They're not going to put their name on a shoddy grenade.
Yeah, gosh,
that's true.
They build those super guns that destroy anything.
I thought that was such a weird plot line. Like, what do the police think when they let Kurtwood Smith and all of his henchmen out of jail, and then also they immediately got like a bunch of giant bazooka guns that they blew up an entire street. They blew up an entire street just testing them.
I think it's funny that right from the beginning they're like, here is this really bad guy.
He like walks in like public view, like he goes in that office to see Dick Jones.
Or
like,
even when
we expected you. It's like, you expected this guy? Like, everyone just knows that you're in cahoots with this villain.
They're like, he's a wanted man. And then even when Robocop arrests him the first time, it throws him in the station. They're like, book him. They're like, what for? And I'm like, everyone should know who that is.
Yeah, that
all
guy
those
is
people
on the news, and you are police.
You should know that this is a guy that kills cops.
Even like Murphy knows that when he comes out of the shadow, and it's like, oh, it's this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess he watches the news.
It's obvious. Look at his face. He looks like an asshole.
He like walks around with impunity. It's sort of a minor thing, but the machine they had filling those vials with that powder drug,
It was spilling.
It was spilling all over.
I rationalized it in my head that they had a basin underneath that they collected the extra.
I hope they did, because that's a lot of waste otherwise,
Right.
and that's just poor business practice. There's got to be a better way, right, Brad?
Well, here's the better way situation. Where do I have this written down? I think it was...
I know Brad likes to talk about the economics of villain activities in movies, so...
Brad's working up to be his own villain.
Was it killing Robocop? Yeah, I think it might have just been like killing Robocop.
I mean, that is a good business strategy. Kill Robocop.
So we missed the scene where... Well, we kind of mixed up what was going on. So Robocop goes into Jake Jones's office. He can't arrest him. He gets in a fight with the Ed 209.
Yep.
And that's when the Ed 209 falls down the stairs. Yes. And that's like the big
and acted like a toddler when it fell down to the bottom of the stairs.
So
it like
mad.
started like
Poor baby.
whining.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't get up.
They were so mad about that.
And then Robocop goes into like the bottom of the parking garage, and he's surrounded by police officers, and that's when like some of them won't shoot him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, that's what I'm thinking. This is how you want to kill Robocop with guns? You built him to withstand bullets.
Yeah.
Power
what
him
are you
down.
thinking?
Right.
They could just power him down.
They need like a remote off button. That's really...
Just wait for him to go back to recharge or whatever, and you get him then. I mean, it's not... You're not shooting him isn't going to accomplish anything. He's built to withstand bullets. What are you doing?
Exactly.
What are you doing? There's got to be a better way to kill Robocop.
There's got to be a better way.
Did we get the part where Robocop went to the club? He went to the club.
No, I don't think we mentioned that at all.
Yeah, to get Ray Weiss.
That club is bumping. There's like there's like naked ladies in there and a bunch of punkers.
And they were not going to let Robocop's presence bring them down. They were having a party. They were like, oh, it's Robocop, whatever.
That place was jamming. It was packed.
I read in the trivia that Peter Weller said that was the hardest scene for him to shoot in the Robocop outfit.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement.
He had to walk down those stairs, but also he couldn't look where he was walking.
Oh, man.
But he said he got it in 3 takes, but he was very worried about falling
over,
in all of that $500,000 Robocop outfit.
Yeah, he said it was $1 million in the interview I saw. They also got it.
They had like 8 of them or 11 of them or something like that.
It arrived the first day of production, and he hadn't had time to be in the costume, and I guess he'd been doing a bunch of like mime work, and all of it he could not do in the costume. So he had to like improvise a lot of different things.
They had to take 3 whole weeks off so he can figure out how to move in the outfit.
Yeah. But Paul Verhoeven is like talks about being mad at him for doing that, and like in retrospectively he's like, oh, it's actually I should have just been fine with it, because Peter Weller's just an actor that needs time to do this thing.
Right. In the trivia it implied that after they started shooting and he was in the outfit, there was a couple days where like Peter Weller started complaining about the outfit, and they immediately started looking for a new actor.
Yeah, they were just going to straight up replace him. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was no way they were going to do that.
Why would you?
They built that costume like specifically for him. He talks about how like the cast were like months in advance, and nobody else can physically wear that costume at all.
Yeah,
right.
But
it was shaped for him.
But it's miserable to be in that costume.
Oh, it's gotta be,
it's 40 pounds. It doesn't breathe.
Yep.
You have to physically like move so often and do active things in it. It's a lot of exterior shots, so there's no air conditioning. he was just sweating bullets the whole time. He said he just lost like 3 pounds of water every day.
Yep.
He always have to keep hydrated. That poor guy.
It's good. It's a new
They
workout.
also couldn't get RoboCop in any car. So every shot of RoboCop is him leaving the car or him sitting down into the seat.
I did ask it part one. I don't know how that car supports his weight in the first place.
He doesn't get that motorcycle that you wanted him to get.
No, that's the remake.
That'd be sweet though.
Yeah,
the remake.
Maybe there's some toys out there. Maybe
motorcycle.
your like little kid brain thought of.
Yeah, it could be.
The RoboCop
too,
toys are really.
I know
sweet.
he definitely has. He's got a motorcycle in the 2014 version, which I have seen. So,
do kids' toys come with guns anymore? They probably don't.
I
right?
bet they
I
do.
have to believe they do.
I bet there's
You think they
Walking
do?
Dead toys with guns.
Is that a kid's
Probably.
toy?
Oh my!
Hell yeah!
In Andy's house.
Hell yeah!
I'm talking like GI Joes or like I don't know.
They're just GI Joes with parachutes.
I guess Star
in their
Wars
hand.
toys come with blasters. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know, GI Joes now come with like pens and paper. They're like, I just work a desk. I don't actually fight you. I sign out requisition forms. GI Joe.
He's the real American hero.
In the ending, they eventually have Peter Weller take off his RoboCop mask.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was like a very important moment in the movie. Because then you get to see Peter Weller again.
Yeah, I think it helps.
It felt so right. Like
Yeah.
it had to happen at that moment.
And it's that scene where it's like connecting with Lewis, or like seeing, it's the Beauty and the Beast scene where it's like I love looking at you. You're not that.
That's after she
hideous."
rescues him from the parking garage, right?
Tale as old as time. RoboCop is fine.
RoboCop and Lewis. But it had to happen. He had to take that mask off because now it's like you're getting more of him being a human again. He's jumping back into getting revenge on these guys. I don't know. I just thought it was like a cool moment.
Then the makeup is insane.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, it does you can't tell where what his real skin is.
It's all bonkers.
You don't know where it is. Like spread across like the back of his helmet and oh man.
It looks really real. And I think it does help connect to, throughout the movie, you see Murphy in the beginning, throughout the movie you see him in the RoboCop, and I think you almost start to get a disassociation. Like you're still following the Murphy story, but you're only seeing the jaw. And I think that really helps bring it back that he's
Murphy
Murphy
makes you
again.
Care for him even more.
Well, there's that part where he's fighting the Ed 209 and he falls down the stairs and his helmet's cracked. And he looks up and you can see his eye. And it's like, oh my, he's human.
Yeah.
He was a real guy after all. Oh man.
I just want to be a real boy.
And Peter Weller does such an amazing job. Like every single movement he's doing is incredible.
He based it off a bird.
He looks
bird
so
movements.
robotic.
Yep. He moves. All those joints kind of move like sort of separately, but very much.
That's
the
what's
way
missing. That was
the
missing
shoulders
in the
and the
remake
head
really bad,
movements
too.
are like the way he moves his shoulders and the head are like the best.
That's it.
His
Yeah.
shoulders always go first,
He's a
and then his
bird.
head follows.
That was exactly what I was about to
Oh,
say.
man.
Like that is the key right there.
Yeah.
Even in shots where it's a giant, like wide shot, you get like multiple guys in the scene at the very end, like multiple guys in the scene, cars in the scene. They're shooting rockets at him, and he's still robotically moving away from these, like methodically. It's so good.
When he's breaking up that drug bust, he's like shooting. He's like holding his body like perfect angles. Like this is how a robot would like move its form.
Mm-hmm.
It would be with the like. There's no
wasted movement.
Yep. Everything is very
You
deliberate.
just pivot to each new guy with the gun and blast him.
Yeah, so sweet.
This is Peter Weller's big movie.
I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I like him in everything he's in. He's a really good in general. Like I feel bad because I always call him like a discount Ed Harris when I see him, but he's not a discount at all. He is amazing.
Mm-hmm. The other scene that really got me was the scene where the bald villain with the weird facial hair drove a van into a bunch of toxic waste.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
That scene was horrifying to me.
Yep. I remember when I watched that as a kid. I was like,
and he like grabs onto Ray Weiss, and Ray Weiss is
he's like,
"Don't
oh
touch me."
Jesus!
yeah. Ray Weiss is like, "Don't touch me!"
Oh my god!
Runs away.
We talked about that in part one, and that is, man, that's one of the most memorable scenes in this movie for me. Is just like I remember as a kid,
memorable.
He splatters all over the windshield.
As a kid, I watched Murphy get shot for 2 minutes, and I was like, yeah. And then, but I saw that guy get mutated. I was like, "Oh my god, no!"
That guy made a
He's
huge
melted.
mistake.
Such an iconic scene in the movie. Too.
Oh,
it's like what you
it's-
think of.
He runs into a giant vat of toxic waste and then gets blown out of the back of his van, and he's just like covered in this stuff, and he's like trying to crawl out of it. The scene like feels like it takes like a whole minute or 2 minutes of watching him like in agony. And I was just like, oh, don't show this anymore. Please cut away. I mean, I get he's a bad guy, but I was just like, please don't show that much of this. Like, I can't take it.
Yeah.
So there's no magnet. There's no big magnet. That's in Robocop 2, I guess.
Yeah. I forgot we mentioned that. But
I thought that was a magnet, though, when they drop all that debris.
So Kurtwood Smith shoots Lewis. She like falls down, and Ray Weiss is like sneaking around to get the best like behind Robocop.
Yeah, isn't that like the big final?
The very end of the movie, and he drops a bunch of like steel beams and stuff onto him.
Yeah,
and then he's like celebrating, and then Lewis gets one of those super guns and just blows that whole thing to hell.
Yeah,
like Ray Weiss was so happy a moment ago.
He immediately just blew right up.
Yep,
just evaporated.
It was really good.
But then Kurtwood Smith does a really dumb thing. Like he
goes over to
he's not done, and he wants to go over and kill RoboCop.
Yeah,
which
RoboCop's blocks on that spear
3 times.
Are so sweet.
Oh my god, I was just like, yeah, he's just gonna keep blocking. So Kurtwood Smith, being a smart guy, I guess, decides to spear it into him.
Yeah.
But his mistake was that he got cocky and he got too close to him.
RoboCop had that secret knife.
Yep.
Yeah, secret USB knife.
Yeah,
USB
that's
sword.
Right. Data storage in the future will be very deadly.
Exactly.
And erotic. He jams it in there.
Oh, yeah.
Does a little twist. Ooh.
My other favorite ADR line was when he was back at the police station. He used that for the first time, and everyone was like, no, you can't come in here. You can't come in here. And he just like pushed everyone out of the way and shoved that thing inside there. You hear someone in the background go, he's in.
I missed that.
But right
good.
Right before that, when they're like harassing him, it's like a middle finger. Like it pops up.
Yeah.
Like, F you. I can do what I want. I'm RoboCop, baby.
I think overall, like this movie feels like an exploitation movie that had fantastic funding, a little bit more of a substance in the storyline, and like great directing and great acting.
Yeah, I think you're exactly
but really,
right.
it's just an exploitation movie. It's just ton of violence, one character just going off
kind
on
of
a
insane
revenge spree.
Yeah, just this insane over the top kind of everything. But yeah, it's all so well done that it becomes like just a really solid movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can make an exploitation movie into something so much more than just like violence. Like there's a ton of substance to this movie.
My favorite line of the movie is when Peter Weller's underneath those iron beams at the end, and Lewis says that she's hurt, and then RoboCop says in like a regular voice, like Peter Weller's voice, "They'll fix you.
They always do.
They'll fix anything.
Oh yeah.
They'll fix everything."
Murphy, I'm a mess.
They'll fix you. They fixed everything.
Oh boy.
That was a great line. That was such
it is
a
really good.
It's when he
moment.
drops like the RoboCop voice, and he's just like, "I'm Peter Weller saying a line."
He just did such a nailed, like, bang-on job as RoboCop. It's just really good.
Yeah, recasting him in the third one, man. Wonder what a RoboCop 3 would have been like with Peter Weller in it. If it would have been watchable or not.
So it's a question. I don't know.
I mean, he shoots back up for RoboCop 2.
Yeah?
He's like, "I want that paycheck."
Hell yeah.
And then he says it's worth it. Maybe he could improve the suit in the second one, or I don't know. He's definitely wearing the mask a lot less. There's a RoboCop TV show, Prime Directive. Did you watch that?
I did.
Did you watch the cartoon at all? I remember the cartoon in the late 80s.
I don't remember these
He's
things.
still like beating up punks and like shooting people, and he still has like a tragic backstory. It's a kid's cartoon. Like, these things are confusing.
Kids don't really pay attention to that stuff sometimes.
Oh man.
The last thing I want to say is when Dick Jones,
I work for Dick Jones.
when he falls out of that window.
Oh no. The one place they decide not to spend any money.
Yep.
The one place.
His arms were double the length. I was like, how are his arms that long?
His face is like a crumpled up mess. Like it looks like someone smushed a puppet's head and like stretched its arms out. It is so bad.
It's like the last thing in this movie, and I forgot about it until you mentioned it just now. And it's
I paused to look at it. I was like, I gotta see what this. This doesn't even look close.
Everything about it felt wrong.
Oh my gosh.
He was so disproportionately made up, and I don't know how. Like, why didn't they just have someone fall through a green screen or something like that?
Just do Die Hard style, yeah.
Die Hard did it right.
Yep.
He was like a claymation figure falling down in stop motion.
It was so bad.
Oh boy.
Oh. What? Doing a plastic mold of him and dropping it off the green screen would have been better than whatever this thing was. Yeah. What is this thing? It doesn't look like anything.
I don't know what that was.
It's some sort of hideous monster falling from the sky.
It was awful. It was so bad.
Oh man.
Just don't cut that scene out. You can just you can just have him go out the window, and then RoboCop looks down and he's splattered on the ground.
Yeah, that'd have been fine. Need to see him falling out the way. I did read in the trivia that they were over budget and over time, and so maybe that part suffered in some way from them being over budget.
It could be.
They ran over budget. The shoot was a lot longer. It was a miserable experience from what I hear.
Yeah,
and it was very hard because everything's practical. You're working on the set.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was, I don't remember specifically, but there was something in the trivia where they talked about how they shot for an entire day just to get RoboCop to catch the keys in his hand.
When he tosses
they shot
them,
for an entire day just to get the right shot, and I was like, that is a waste of a day.
I did read
it. It was a dope shot, though.
Oh, it's totally good. He just snatches those up. He's like, got it.
Ready to go.
It's one of those small things where you're like, it never would have occurred to me that would be a hard take to get. And then you're reading that it just takes an entire day of production to nail that. You're like,
yeah, just think how much money they spent on that shot alone. Millions.
Yeah.
Or hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, you spend a lot of money making these movies like this.
Yeah.
But
it's also one of the reasons it was so good, too. Is they dumped the money into it.
Mm-hmm.
Kept dumping it.
But apparently the director is super smart because they knew they were over budget and over time, and so they decided to not shoot one critical scene before they went to talk to the executives. And that was the scene where Murphy dies.
I mean, if you're gonna hold off on you're like, oh, we're out of money, but the one scene that we absolutely have to have right here is not done.
Yep.
The lighting and it definitely took place over hours of time because the lighting drastically changes in that scene.
Where he gets shot.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were given a ton more money after they saw the movie, and they were just like, shoot the scene. So they probably went overboard on that scene, which is probably why feels so violent.
Long. Yeah, visceral. All the squibs. So just give me all of them.
Oh, a lot of squibs in this movie.
Oh, a ton.
Because RoboCop's gun has the auto fire, so they had to rig up 3 squibs for every one normal bullet squib, just because of the auto fire. They wanted to keep it as real as possible when the squibs went off.
Yep.
So when he shot, he hit 3 times, with every shot. Instead of the one time, so 3 squibs to every 1 squib.
Right.
That gun was fake too. It was they had to add extra things on it because it looked so small in RoboCop's hand.
Yeah. Oh, the Desert Eagle that they run around with in the beginning, when they have the one guy pick up a gun, threaten the robot. That was originally supposed to be his gun, which is Desert Eagle, which is a huge gun on its own. But yeah, when they're like, oh, it still looked too small.
Yeah, Peter Weller said in an interview that they had to get through customs and they had to approve that gun.
Well, it's
I
mentioned part 1. It's bred in 93R, which is a fully automatic handgun. I don't know if it's burst or fully, but it's based. It's a gun that's very tightly controlled because it is much more powerful than a regular pistol. I could see that causing some problems if you're trying to move around and shoot in different places.
Mm-hmm.
Shot it all in Dallas. They did some test shots in Detroit, but they didn't like the skyline.
Oh my god, that really frustrated me. The entire movie was shot in Dallas.
Yeah.
And they only had one scene that was shot in Detroit, and it was stock footage, apparently.
Oh, yeah, at the beginning? The very opening scene?
I was like, you can't just shoot one sequence there or have, a building that's in Detroit? All these... There was a building for the OCP, and it was very odd-shaped, and I was like, where is that exactly? I mean, obviously, this movie's shot in the future.
I'm sure tons of people feel like this when...
Oh, it was a matte painting.
Yeah. I was like, I bet a lot of people feel like this when they're, it's set in my city, and then it's Vancouver again. Again.
Right.
Yeah, it was frustrating. I know the remake was shot mostly in Detroit, because that's back when they had the film credits going nuts, so...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's one of those things where you can see all the landmarks, and you're like, oh, okay, it feels like it's here where we are, so...
He just needed to be Peter Weller in that movie.
Oh my god, yeah.
He was just a dude in a cop costume, like a Robocop costume.
Yeah.
He wasn't robotic at all.
Yeah, it was
that poor remake.
Less
Robo. It was
like
a Daft Punk Robocop where you're there's a guy under there. I get it. He's just a guy in a motorcycle helmet or something.
And Michael Keaton's doing stuff.
Is Michael Keaton in the Robocop?
He's the villain.
He's like the main bad guy. Yeah, he runs OCP.
Oh, okay. I might check it out, but I also might just rewatch RoboCop.
Rewatch this movie.
I enjoyed the new one, but I know a lot of people didn't, so I'm not going to recommend it to anybody.
It's got a lot of problems.
It does.
And like when you're watching, it's like, oh, I should have been watching the original.
Yeah, I could see that absolutely being a real thing anyone would say because it's true. It's true.
I was trying to think of a movie remake that launched a franchise, and I couldn't think of one. Because they just
movie remake?
Yeah, because they just come and die. Yeah, like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Oh, a Friday the 13th movie. Oh,
there was like Halloween. They made 1 and 2 remakes, but
Halloween,
I
guess,
really
like kind of took off a little
past
bit.
That.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre was pretty like well received, but didn't like start a franchise.
But I will say, Texas Chainsaw Massacre has had numerous reboots throughout the last 30 years.
Exorcist kept on trying to get rebooted. That always failed.
Yep.
They make money. I'm not saying that, but I'm like, which one's like,
pick back up?
Usurped. Is that the right word? Usurped? Like
usurped?
Usurped the original.
I'm trying to think of anything. Amityville is all like one long thing. I don't think that's any of those count as a remake. So
yeah,
I feel like too, if it's gonna usurp something, it has to be a movie that wasn't very good initially, and then like they remake it and
it's
or like a
why are they remaking series? Big Trouble in Little China? Why are they remaking these movies that like everyone wants to? Don't make movies people love. Just like try to do something that had a little bit of a failure to it. Remake a Phantasm movie for all I care.
Remake Blank Check. We already explained exactly how to do it.
Checks
in our
don't
podcast.
Exist in 2017. We'd have to figure out.
People be like, "What is a check?"
I saw someone in the supermarket using a check recently.
You saw someone in the supermarket use a check?
Yeah, it was so frustrating.
Were they like 87?
Oh, you stuck behind them and you're like...
Yeah, it was like an 80-year-old woman.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to pay with the check and pennies. You're like, get out of my line.
Oh, man.
RoboCop's so good.
Fantastic movie.
It is.
Go watch it.
If you haven't seen it already.
And if you have seen it, go watch it again right now.
Definitely go see it again.
Yeah, he's iconic. He's up there.
I thought I was going to be kind of bored rewatching this because I'm like, it's RoboCop. You've seen it enough times. I loved every minute of rewatching this film. It's so good, and I would absolutely watch it again tomorrow. And I just watched it today.
I want to watch the sequels, even though I know they're going to be real bad. That's how much I loved this movie.
Yep.
It's dated a little bit, but it doesn't feel like it's like overly dated.
No. It is a movie that I think can still work no matter, like Die Hard. It can move. Like I said, I think Brad mentioned it's like Die Hard caliber kind of in the beginning, where it's a movie you can watch anytime, and it's like, sure, you can be like, wow, this is an 80s film, but it doesn't make me not like the film in any way.
Yeah. The pace of it. I mean, it's just
moving.
It's cranking.
And you get caught up in it, and you're going.
Paul Verhoeven?
Mm-hmm.
That's the director. He's Dutch. And this was his first American movie, I think is what I read.
Yep.
And he specifically, him and the cinematographer watched American movies because they wanted to shoot it like an American movie. So they wanted something that was always moving, always fast-paced. Camera was always doing dolly shots. Editing was really fast. It just looks great. It looks fantastic.
Yep.
I want Paul Verhoeven to do more science fiction. He's only done like Total Recall and Hollow Man. And then he's
Starship Troopers.
And Starship Troopers. And then done a bunch of dramas. I want him to do
what's like a recent film. I meant to look up his credits. What's like a recent one
I don't know what it's called. There was something that came out in 2016 about like a woman who gets raped and like goes at revenge to like find the rapist. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool, but I want it to be in the future.
That movie was nominated.
Elle, I think it was called?
Yeah, that movie was nominated for Best Actress.
Oh,
it sounded really cool, actually.
Yeah, I want future. Do sci-fi, Paul Verhoeven. I know you listen to the podcast. So.
Yeah, you're a big fan. I know.
Oh, he did Basic Instinct and Showgirls.
Of course.
Yes.
Nothing really else that.
No, I would definitely.
Total Recall.
Said.
No, yeah, I think the dude really did master kind of the campy science fiction. I think all of those science fiction movies work because of the way he made them. Not because necessarily like the script was a strong thing or anything like that. Like Starship Troopers was on the verge of not being a good movie. Like anyone else, I think it would have been a terrible film.
I agree.
I was just looking at his movie list. We pretty much touched on all the movies he's made.
Yeah, nothing interesting.
Oh, yeah. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Yeah.
From the Dutchland.